Hello listeners and welcome to Cult News 3, regular news updates of prevalent stories currently in the Cultiverse. I'm your speaker Casey, host of the Cult Vault podcast. If you find this content interesting, please consider liking and subscribing and head over to patreon.com/the Cult Vault to find exclusive and ad-free content. And now on to today's news. October 11th, 1994 marks the date that cult leader, abuser, and paedophile David Berg, aka Moses Mo Grandpa, founder and leader of the Children of God, died, much to the absolute shock of followers who believed Berg's self-proclamations of being a true prophet. Despite the death of this religious leader, the Children of God is still at large today, rebranded as the Family International, with one of Berg's wives taking the reins after his death. Karen Zerby serves as the motherhood of this abusive cult. There has been a petition floating about by a survivor group named COG TFI Survivors for Karen Zerby to be investigated by the FBI on charges of child sex trafficking, child abduction, forced labor, slavery, charity fraud, money laundering, and much more. Zerby has been compared recently to Ghislaine Maxwell, British socialite who was recently found guilty of sex trafficking charges. For more information on the Children of God, please consider going to my podcast. For deep dive interviews with survivors, many including authors who have spoken out about their experiences within the Children of God and have published memoirs available for you to read today, or head over to the COG TFI Survivors page on Twitter for more information around the activism work taking place there. Today, the trial of Danny Masterson has begun, with jury selection happening as I speak. Danny Masterson, Hollywood actor of that 70s show fame and longtime Scientologist, has been accused of forcibly raping 3 women between the years of 2001 and 2003, according to a recent blog article on the Underground Bunker on Tony Ortega's website. Jane Doe 1, who Masterson allegedly drugged and raped at a party at his home, Jane Doe 2, who Masterson allegedly forcibly raped when she visited his home, Jane Doe 3, who dated Masterson for 6 years, will all be appearing in court. All 3 women were Scientologists at the time. The women have reported being subjected to horrific treatment leading up to the trial by members of the Church of Scientology, who have allegedly hired private investigators to dig up dirt on the victims, have gang-stalked the women following them repeatedly, and another victim, Chrissy Carnell Bixler, along with her husband and Mars Volta singer Cedric Bixler-Zavala, accused Scientologists of killing their dog amidst allegations that Masterson assaulted Bixler, according to a 2020 article on The Hollywood Reporter. If you want more information on Scientology, you can check out some of my earlier episodes on the podcast, including one conversation that I had with leading authority Chris Shelton, who has his own YouTube channel and podcast, so please consider heading over to his YouTube channel to check out Chris's in-depth exploration of Danny Masterson, the church's potential involvement in the rape cases and the cover-ups, and on the subject of Scientology itself. We will continue reporting on this as we get updates. In Japan news today, the Unification Church has allegedly falsely claimed to be a children's emergency shelter in a building in Japan that is run by the Family Federation for World Peace and Unification, the rebranded name that the Unification Church has used in recent years. The sign in question was attached to the inside of the local church's front entrance, making it visible from the outside through the glass. In addition to the words Children's 110 House and Conan Police Station, the sign also bore the name of the school district where a nearby elementary school is located. As of 2012, the building currently used by the church was housing a printing company. A plate of the same design was seen stuck on the entrance's glass panel. In a 2015 image, the building already housed the church, with the plate in the same place. For more information on the Unification Church, please consider checking out my earlier episodes with deep dive interviews with survivors, or head over to Elgin Straight's Falling Out Pod, a podcast hosted by Elgin, a former first-generation Moonie, with a sole focus on the church and survivor testimony. According to an article by Natasha Anderson for Mail Online, a 58-year-old hypnotherapist by the name of Ian Roper, has been jailed for 29 months after putting female clients into a trance-like state during hypnotherapy sessions and then sexually assaulting his victims. According to the article, Roper commanded one victim to take part in a non-consensual sexual activity, and when she came to, Roper put her under again so she wouldn't remember what had happened. Roper initially denied these allegations when he was first hit with them, saying he had never assaulted anyone under hypnosis. But later, after indecent images of children were found on his laptop, Roper pled guilty at trial, landing himself in prison for 29 months. One news story, taken from the Cult News 101 daily updates that I received from Pat Ryan, Joe Kelly and Ashlyn Hilliard, included one from the BBC written by Ruffy Berg, detailing how Jewish sect leaders of somewhat extremist movement Lev Tahor were arrested in a Mexican raid before being set free. The dropping of charges comes after a lack of evidence found in a potential case of human trafficking and sex crimes. The sect Lev Tahor is known for extremist practices and imposing a strict regime on its followers. It advocates child marriage, inflicts harsh punishments even for minor transgressions, and requires women and girls as young as 3 years old to completely cover up with robes. The two leaders were arrested in September, denying any wrongdoing and accusing their persecution and scrutiny from law enforcement to be a direct result of their belief system. Lev Tahor, Hebrew for pure of heart, was formed in Israel in 1988 and is thought to number up to 350 members, according to ex-members of the group. For regular news articles and Cult News updates in the written form, consider heading over to Cult News 101 and signing up to their mailing list to get daily emails landing in your inbox. That is all of today's news. I'm your speaker Casey, host of the Cult Vault podcast, and if you find these news updates helpful, please consider liking and subscribing to my content, and find me on patreon.com/The Cult Vault for ad-free and exclusive content.